Alright guys, so today I just want to make a quick video explaining why I think the V6 Mustang is better than the Ecoboost Mustang. Now, it might seem a little biased because I clearly own a 3.7 liter V6 Mustang that is behind me. I guess first thing I'll start off with is price. Now, pricing these cars, you're going to come into a $1,500 difference. Now, my personal car behind me is actually $50 less than the Ecoboost because I have the 015A package. I think I pronounced that right, or I might have butchered it. I think that's the name of it though. And that allowed me to get the fog lights and wheels. Now, you see a lot of V6s, they don't have the they don't have that package, so they don't have fog lights, and they just have the 17-inch wheels that you can get. Now, and the Ecoboost comes with that standard. Next thing I want to talk about is power. Now, the V6 Mustang used to make 305 horsepower, and the S197, I saw people were tuning that engine, which is the same engine, and I saw they were doing that and how they were able to put down a decent amount of power with that V6, especially like with Bama tunes and BT tuning and stuff like that. Probably your top two tuners that people were going with, and they were able to throw out a decent amount of power. Now, the Ecoboost, I saw Subaru WRX fan tuning his, and I watched how he was able to put down powers, and I also saw how other people in forums are putting down power, like especially torque. That's a very torquey engine the Ecoboost is, and they were putting down power. Their torque numbers were the same as GT's, and that is a very, very interesting thing coming from a 4-cylinder that's, I think, running 12 pounds of boost. That I just think that's very almost incredible that that little engine could do torque in the 400s and stuff. But that's one thing that I did consider. Was I thought about the S197 generation, how people were able to tune this car. And when this V6 first came out, at first I was considering the Ecoboost because I wasn't seeing any aftermarket support, but now the aftermarket support, after a year it's a change, is basically finally picking up. I don't know what I just heard in the woods, but I'm keep filming. The aftermarket support has picked up for this car greatly as far as exhaust systems and visual modifications. Well, that's all across the board, but you still get what I'm saying. The aftermarket support for this car is definitely back up. So if that's one thing that someone was considering, is aftermarket support, the Ecoboost and V6 Mustang have great aftermarket support, as Mustangs have always had in the past. Next thing I want to talk about, and this actually goes with aftermarket support. Now, the V6 Mustang does not have as many exhaust systems out for it, as far as like full catback systems and stuff like that, but this car sounds better than the Ecoboost Mustang. Now, I'm not saying the Ecoboost sounds bad, but the V6 just sounds better. A lot of people agree with that. It just does. I mean, you can't really argue with, especially once you get some type of system on it. I have a Borla Axleback system on mine. Now, one obvious thing that people do consider when buying or trying to choose between the V6 Mustang and the Ecoboost is gas mileage. Now, I've shown you guys what I was able to get highway. Now, I haven't done a city MPG number, but I'll tell you guys now, I usually get 22 to 23 city, and I have 315 gear ratio, so that is a factor as far as what my gas mileage is. You can also get 355s on the V6, but I'll talk about that later. Now, the Ecoboost gets better gas mileage. Now, I talked about in my gas mileage video, I think if I had an Ecoboost, I'd be getting even better gas mileage. You can't really fight it. It's a 4-cylinder. Now, it is a boosted 4-cylinder, so when you get on it, of course, it's going to drink gas just like the V6 is going to drink gas. Now, I did that video just to show you guys that you can get good gas mileage with a V6, exactly what to expect if someone's trying to buy the car, or just someone's wondering, I wonder what a V6 gas. Someone's ever just sitting there wondering, hey, I wonder what a V6 Mustang does on gas mileage. Well, now you know what it does. The V6 is very competitive with gas mileage. Now, I think it was Autovlog. I'll post probably the article below, or the description, or the link to the article in the description below, so you guys can read it. They actually did a test between the V6 and the Ecoboost Mustang, and I think the Ecoboost beat the V6 by, but not by much. It only got 22 miles to the gallon, and the V6 got 21.2 miles to the gallon. So clearly, that's not a really big difference, and I'm seeing that firsthand, and how I think the V6 is rated at 28 miles to the gallon, and I'm getting like 33 or 34.4, stuff like that. You guys saw in the video. I'm getting ridiculous numbers, so I'm definitely satisfied with that. And gas mileage for me is really not a problem with my V6. And as I'm trying to wrap this video up, because it is getting dark pretty fast out here, last thing I'm going to talk about is exactly reliability. Now, Subaru WRX fan, he was modding his engine, and a whole bunch of stuff was happening with him. And like I mentioned before, I saw how this car was able to be modded when they had it in the S197, how people were able to mod it, and it was still reliable. Now, some of his issues were because he had a new car, or because you can go watch his videos and you'll see exactly why. Now that it's a case by case situation. So I realized that this car is going to be cheap for me to run, and that I'm going to be able to tune this with probably really no problems, any significant problems, because this engine has already been proven. Naturally aspirated V6, you're not going to run into certain issues like boost leaks or stuff like that. Basically, talking more about that, I feel like you already know what to expect with this car as far as like power and stuff, with maintenance and issues, and people have already, if there's any problem with this car, they've already had it. So I know like the S197s was having drivetrain issues. Now that's not going to happen in S550 because Ford already heard about that, they fixed it. But basically, you get what I'm saying. For anything that's happened with that engine, it's been tested not only by Ford, but people have tested it themselves in the field. And the Ecoboost is so new, I wasn't exactly sure what was going to happen with it. It also comes down to things like personal preference. So for me, I know what exactly, like, the reason why I got the V6 Mustang is because I plan on boosting the car later down the road. And some people already want a car that is boosted, and they like the turbo. They like the idea of a turbo, like the sounds that you can get, so blow off valve sounds and all different type of sounds that turbo cars make. And I like, me personally, I like a naturally aspirated engine. I like the sound that this V6 can produce if you put the right type of system on it. Now sometimes it can be too raspy. Same thing with the 4-cylinder and stuff like that. So it does come down to personal preference, exactly. So a lot of people may have different opinions of why they went with the V6 or why they went with the Ecoboost. Now a lot of it comes down to price, but you know, those were mine. That's basically all I have for today's video. You know, subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and see you in another video. See you another day. Out. Yo. Dark. Yeah. Damn. I don't Here's a little side note for you guys if you made it to the end of the video. The reason why I've been like filming outside of the car, trust me, I do not want to be outside right now. It is wet and cold. It is not a nice day. My mount for my windshield broke, and I have yet to buy a new one. And I'm also trying to buy a new camera and get better camera angles for you guys and make better videos for you guys, basically. So I'm in the process of doing that. So yeah, that's why I've been outside, and I decided to do a handheld thingy. Actually, I'm on a selfie stick right now, but just a little side note, so you know, we out here struggling, but we're gonna get better. It's gonna get better real soon. I don't know why I'm talking about this. Yeah.